should be available later today. So this is the Atom Software 2015 Software Enhancements. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, I apologize for this delay. We'll try to make sure we get through it still within our 2-hour time frame. My name is Mark Preco, President and Founder of Atom Software. It's my privilege to present these enhancements to you guys. We've been working on them since actually March of last year, if you can believe it. So I'm going to get started right away because I know we're already delayed. And if you can't hear me or if you can't see my screen, please send a message at the bottom so we can get that straightened out. We don't want any more problems that we've already had. So hopefully you guys have your we'll just start with page 1. That's going to be the easiest way to follow. And I'm going to show, if you don't have it, I'm going to show you how you can grab that real quick. And what I'd recommend is just jotting down notes on the agenda, anything that pertains to your office that you think would be helpful. And then we have training videos that are already set up that can help you walk through and get more of the details. So right at the beginning, we have the help link that we're talking about. You can find in your, hopefully if you guys have 2 monitors, just click on the help link. And the very first thing where you can get the agenda is down here, the, where we at here? Enhancement Webinar Agenda. So if you don't already have it in your hands, I'm going to show you in a second where you can find it. Right now it's going to be, this is what we're talking about. So right here we're in the help link. That's where I'm going to be referencing back and forth to the agenda. And we pull. So if you don't have it, if you want to click on where it says log into your Atom account, it'll ask you for your, and I don't want to do it because it's going to log me out, but it'll ask you for your 3-letter Atom code, and it'll also ask you for your password, which, unless you've changed it, would be the same 3 letters of your Atom code. And your Atom code are going to be up right here in the URL. Right now, mine is saying demo. Yours would say something like YTS or XTAX or something unique to your company. So that's how you'd log in, and then it would be the Atom agenda, enhancements agenda is going to be in a message that we sent to you. Okay. Okay. If anyone out there, if they could just, we just had someone call if they couldn't see the screen. If you can see the screen, could you just, of course you don't know which one, but just say I can see the screen, just so I don't want to continue on if you're not even able to see or hear me.
I can see the screen.
Okay, great. Okay, so we got the help menu, log into your Atom account. And let me go over this real quick. Hopefully you guys are familiar with this menu. This is to help you guys out. Right away we have the video library. This is all brand new. It's all linked to YouTube now. We've added additional videos to it, made it easier for you guys to hopefully follow than what we had before. So that will be as soon as we push the enhancements. Actually, it's out there now. What I can do is I can send a message out to you with the link to the video library. That way you can access it now as opposed to waiting until your software will be updated, which right now it's planned on starting next week. The whole process will probably take 2 to 3 days. So your software, you'll be probably interrupted for about 5 minutes, and then the changes will take place. And we'll show you what the changes are right now. So when you go to log into your Atom account, if you haven't noticed already, it's going to probably prompt you to change the password. And if you try to get in and you fail 5 times, it's going to time you out for about 15 minutes before you can get back in again. These are some of the new links we have. We're going to add our user manual. Obviously, we're going to have this. It's going to be recorded, so this will be the webinar video. You can go back to it. Again, hopefully by tomorrow we'll have that up so that everybody can see that. And we also have some explanations of the new changes in our handbook, too. So, you know, definitely go to this page to get some more information to help you with Atom. All right, now we get down to get back into the software. Here we have the login and the check-in. So on the login, you log out here. So when you're logging in, obviously everyone knows how to do that. If you get your password incorrect, we're going to give you 5 times And if you fail it after 5 times, it's going to time you out for about 15 minutes. And we did that for security purposes. So in case somebody's out there is trying to hack in using the computer program and they're just guessing words, then after the 5th time, it'll time them out, and hopefully that'll keep them from trying to get into software. We haven't had any attempts like that, but again, we're just trying to be preventative so we don't have anybody getting into the software. The check-in screen. We now have a feature. Let me pull the check-in screen over here. For those that have clients that are Spanish-speaking that are using the check-in screen, it can identify whether these clients are Spanish-speaking or not, and if they are, then the message actually will display in Spanish. So let me go ahead and enter a social in here. So this is Diana, and it's all in Spanish. And it's highlighting my name because it's appointments with Mark at 2 o'clock. So those are some more changes there to make that easier for the client to see. I'm going to show you where we're going to designate that this person is a Spanish-speaking client when we get inside the client file. Just wanted to show you that, how the check-in screen is going to work if we check the box. And I'm going to try not to bounce around as much because I know I've lost people in the past. So I'm just going to, unfortunately, with Adam, because it's so intertwined, a lot of the features, you have to do something in order to a feature to work. So that's pretty much for the check-in screen. Just we have the Spanish version that'll display welcoming the clients. The layout changes, as you should see right here on the home screen. We always had the office events, user overview. Now we've added a new column called office overview. And the office overview, the reason we had to do that is we have a new portal called the prospect portal or prospect messages. And we're going to explain that in just a few minutes. But we had to kind of break these out. The user overview was getting longer and longer, and it actually was expanding outside of what the user should be seeing. So the user overview really is now strictly just for the user. It's their assigned tasks, their messages, appointments, and their work schedule. The office overview is going to be your office portal, which is formerly under the user overview. This new link, which is going to be your prospect message, your prospect portal, and then, of course, if you're a Drake or Crosslink user, you have your Drake web service, electronic filing data import, which is now located under the office overview, just to make it easier for you because it's getting a little too clustered under the user overview. Okay, the office events, and I'm just following right down here. I'm on the bottom of page 1 now. Display events before they are due using the new view date feature. So if I go into one of my office events, pending my to-do list, and we added this new feature up here at the top, view date. So right now it's defaulting to the current date, and it's not doing anything different than it always would. But say you had, if I have a to-do list, and I'm actually going to set something out there 2 weeks from now, or say 5 weeks from now, or 5 weeks from now, then maybe I want to call the IRS or something, follow up for a client. So I can put any date in here. Say I'm going to go to December 10th. It'll show me any event, any client that has a due date of, or actually a start date of December 10th. If I go out further, I could go out a couple months, then it'll display any other clients. This is going to be more helpful, I think, if you're using this for bookkeeping. So if I go switch over to my business type bookkeeping, and say right now I'm looking here at my 941. So according to this, I don't have any 941s to do. But maybe I want to see what's coming down the pipe, see if there's any coming up. So if I click on my calendar and I select, in this case, December 10th, I can see, oh, I have B&C Pharmacy and Family Barbershop. I'm going to have to do their 941s in just 5 more days. Maybe I'll get a head start on it and start it right now. So that's what this calendar right here is for, and it's actually on every single event page. If I switch back to tax prep, if I go into any one of these pages, it's right here. So it's going to default to today's date, but you can extend it out as far as you want. Spanish-speaking clients, if I go up here to my lobby, and right here, we have a new color scheme key right here, Spanish-speaking, it's purple. And so in this case, Diana, she's highlighting as purple. So it's just a way of, if you do have Spanish-speaking clients, as soon as they get checked in, they go in the lobby, this would identify it for the preparer. Unless you know Spanish, wait for someone, a preparer that actually speaks the language to take the client back, as opposed to, so you don't have a language barrier. So this person will highlight in purple throughout the whole software, regardless of which event they're on, including the search page too. So I'll quickly just show you where you're going to do that. If I get into Diana's file here, right in the contact information, you'll check the box Spanish speaking, and then save, and that's how you annotate that she's a Spanish speaking client. Email text clients. Let me go down to my pending client office events. We have this column email text, which before it just said email, and I don't know how many people have used the feature, but if you actually check the box here, I select everybody. If I come down here and click compose email, now I'm going to send both an email and a text, and I'll show you in a few more minutes how we're going to capture the client's text phone number. But I would just click on compose email, just like you always did. It's going to stamp date it that you sent an email or text today and the time, and it will go both as an email and a text. Have their email address, and you have their cell phone and their cell phone provider. This will launch your Outlook or whatever email application you're using, and then you can blast out the email and text both at the same time. Link to the EF database section from the year field. All we're doing is making it quicker to get to certain parts of the software. So this year field now is going to be a direct link to the EF database section of a client file. So this will come in more useful, say, in the wait on IRS to fund the bank. If you do bank products, I click on the year. I'm going to shoot right in their EF database page. I can see when it was accepted, what kind of product they're expecting, if they've received a check yet or not. That and the reject sections where I can see that could come in handy. But anyway, the year field is a direct link to the EF database section of the software. Checklist. Every office event now has a checklist item. So, for example, if I go to drop-off and you have certain steps that you want your employees to do at this stage at drop-off, if they click on the checklist icon, it's going to tell them what they're supposed to do. In this example, have complete client info sheet, rent credit form, self-employment form, create a client folder, and inform preparers of new drop-off returns. So I've actually made these required. If you look, there's a little red asterisk. So if I try to move this to the next stage, to another event, it'll actually give me a big red warning message telling me I have required checklists that have not been completed yet to go back and complete them. So I'll show you how that works. So we go back to File. Actually, if I go back to File, I actually go into the client file. Let me go back to my office event page. So if I actually try to move this person, Jeremy Anderson, give him a person here, and I move him to, say, tax preparation, and I save it. So are you sure you want to close this record? It has required checklists open. I hit OK. And again, I still get another red message. It says click here to view them. And I shoot into the checklist item. I can see which required checklist items I have that need to be completed. Now, it's not going to prevent you from moving it. We didn't want to get that restrictive. But it will be in that employee's face telling them they are changing the status, and you've set up required checklist items that they haven't completed. To complete them, all I do is check the box, hit save. That'll stamp date it, who completed the item. You can actually even assign this to a specific employee and write any notes you'd like to it within this checklist item. But every event has a checklist, and I'll talk about, when we talk about admin, how you set those checklists up. And these are also going to be used just as like nice, helpful tips for your employees. So we have a list of procedures that we want our employees to do. Say, for example, at check-in, when I click on the checklist box, this is going to tell my employees what they need to do. I mean, normally they probably had it written down on a sticky sheet somewhere. Remember to do this, scan and upload IDs for new clients, have all clients complete a yellow client info sheet. So it's going to be nice for your new employees that they can easily just click on the checklist item and they can see what they're supposed to do. Now, I don't have these listed as required, but they're just nice little reminders for the employee in case they forget what they're supposed to do. Okay, going on to page 2, the daily log. If you scroll down here to the bottom, hopefully you guys are using this. It's a very useful tool to keep track of what's going on in your office per day, or if you want to leave it there for the whole year, you can. Depends on how many clients you have. If you have a lot of clients, obviously it might time out, but if you don't have, if your client base is between 150 and 750, there's no problem of leaving it there the whole year, and you can keep track of who came in and who didn't. If I click on the daily log, I'm going to get a summary box at the top. It's actually going to tell me how many total people came in, how many were walk-ins, how many were appointments, and how much money came in, and how much was how many discounts we gave too for the day. Or, like I said, you could have run this for the whole year too if you'd want. Now, these fees and payments, as you should know, on the user page, you can actually remove this from anybody but the administrator. So if you don't want your staff to see how much money is coming in per day, you can easily eliminate that from that user from seeing. We've also added some columns to the daily log: the fee, the payment, the discount payment method. We've added along with the account type and the due date. So this makes it easier by putting the due date here. If you want to keep track, using the daily log to keep track of which clients haven't been filed yet based on their filing status, their event status here, or their acknowledgement code if you're using Drake Cross like your tax-wise, and what the due date of the return is, and what kind of the return type it is. And over here, you can keep track of how much money, up here you can see total, how much you gave away in discounts, but right here you can see how much you're giving away per client. So you can easily monitor this on a daily basis, because now we're displaying fee, payment, and discount. Also, this is a nice way at the end of the day, if you're trying to reconcile your cash or checks coming in and you're coming up short or over, you can pop in here and see, oh, maybe I didn't log in a fee or payment for somebody. Like in this case, come down here to one that's complete. Why don't I have a fee or payment logged in for this Bruce Brown here? So it's a lot easier to identify where payment or transactions weren't recorded. Okay, that's all I have for the daily log. Now we're moving on to the user overview on the home page. Okay, so for my assigned tasks, we tried to make this easier so you could actually see what's a new assigned task to you. Before, everything was just there, and there was only way to know if it was actually new or not was just to look to see what date it actually came in. So now, these are all highlighted in red. In this case, I have one new assigned task. I just click on it. It's going to highlight in yellow all my new assigned tasks. The only way I'm going to remove the yellow highlighting, is if I actually view and go into the client file. That's going to trigger it now to not be considered new anymore. So if I go back to my home page, now I have one assigned task, but it's not new anymore. Same can be said for the messages. In this case, I have one new message. I click on it until I view it. Now it knows I've read it. Now when I go back to my home page, now it just shows I have 3 messages. Appointments, I have 2 new appointments. So every time someone books an appointment for you, you're going to get notified right here it'll say you have 1 new appointment. So all you do is click on. In this case, you don't actually have to go view it. You can actually just, by looking at it, we're assuming that you're reading your new message, your new appointment. So if I go back to my home page now it's just going to display that I have 2 appointments for the month. My work schedule works exactly the same way. So if anyone makes a change to the work schedule or adds to the work schedule, it's going to display on the user page that they now have 1 new day. So I click on this. It's going to, again, highlight in yellow what has changed, which one's new. So if I change the time, now they're working 9 to 4, it would then highlight in yellow so that employee knows what just got changed. Now when I go back to my home page, again, now it's not new anymore, so it's going to be removed. The very bottom here under User Overview, we moved the Office Portal Messages and Web Service link over to Office Overview. So just to clean it up, it didn't really tie to a user, and it actually applies more as an Office procedure, which now takes us into the Office Overview. So on the Office Portal Message, everything's pretty much the same as it was before, other than when I click on here, I can now complete portal messages without actually having to go in and viewing them. So we have a checkbox here, and I have a complete button here now. And when I can see this actually will come in handy, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when clients send you documents to the portals, which say, for example, this John Jones right here, they sent 4 documents to me, okay, and I'm going to demonstrate in a little bit how you can easily move those documents. It used to be very tedious and time-consuming to move them. Now it's very simple to move them to whatever year you want to move them to. But then now I need to get rid of these off my home page on my portal message. So to do that, I can just check this box now and just mark them complete. Okay, now they're gone. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how we can actually move documents quickly out of the permanent documents into whatever year you want to move them to. But that's the only feature we added here was you can mark these complete very quick and easy. So I'm going to go back to the home page. Link to the appointment scheduler within any portal message. All right, so again, I'm not sure how many people were using the appointment request. We used it here in our office, so how we had to do it before is we would click on the view icon. I could see their desired date, time, and with whom, and then I'd have to go back, and then I would click the schedule right here, and that would shoot me into the appointment scheduler. Now, when I'm inside of any portal message, I can just click on this link down here, schedule appointment, and that will automatically shoot me into the appointment scheduler. So to make it one less step, you don't have to go back and then get into the appointment scheduler. I can just link directly from any portal message to schedule my appointment. The next bullet here, we have office prospect message. This is brand new. It's kind of an experiment for us. We don't know how this is going to work out. Hopefully it's going to be successful. But basically on your website, I'm sure most of you guys are trying to capture leads, prospects, new potential clients, and I'm sure most of you, or not all of you, are using your email as a way of capturing that. So they would maybe they'll fill out something for requesting, more information on just purchasing a new home or something, somehow to just capture their name. All right, so then it funnels into an email address, which probably typically might be the owner or the manager, and then they either have to answer the question or delegate it to someone. So what we wanted to do is try to funnel it into Adam. So it wasn't going just to an email address, it actually was going to the whole office, and then the office could respond to it, whomever. Say if the client is asking, what are your office hours for the prospect, then you could, receptionist could quickly answer. So let me show you how we set that up. So we went ahead and revamped our website completely. Not for this reason only, but I'm going to show you how we have it set up in our office. So the landing page we have, if I scroll down here, we have, we're here to answer your tax questions, and then a button, Ask Question. When I click on this Ask Question, this is what we call our landing page. So this is the prospect message landing page, prospect portal. When the client fills this out, they will be sent directly into Adam, and now you can track them. You can either set them up as a prospect and send them all kinds of mailers or whatnot, or you can quickly reply to them with an email, answering their question, and then, go from there. It all depends on how you handle leads coming into your office. But the whole goal was to try to funnel it and centralize it into Adam so you can actually manage it, as opposed to being in your email. It's very difficult to manage leads coming in. At least it is for us. It was for us. So that's why we developed this whole prospect portal. So the client would just fill this out, and first name, contact email, contact phone number, and then right down here, this is where you get to customize it around how you capture leads. So if you have something that says, sign up for our newsletter, then you could have the subject would be sign up for our newsletter, and you customize this in admin. So I'm going to show you that later. So in this case, ask a tax question, how much do you charge? Because if you go back to our website, if I go to Contact Us, we basically have a landing page on every single page in our website. If I hit Contact Us, it's the exact same page. If I hit, let me go back to my website, scroll down. If I hit Request a Quote, it's the exact same page. But I'm able to do this by changing the subject. So now in this case, this person would select how much do you charge. So it's no different than what you're doing right now on your website with an email. It's just now the messages are going to go directly into Adam, and you're going to be able to respond to them quicker, and you're going to be able to be more efficient because it can all be delegated or managed in whatever whatever way you'd like. So let me go back to my page here. So when somebody sends a message to me, it's going to show up right here. Your office has one new prospect message, just like the office portal message. I click on it. In this case, highlight the new one is highlighted in yellow, just like we're being consistent. And I have, a great prospect here, Tom Izzo. Maybe he's asking me, some coaching tips or something so they can get back on a winning streak. But anyway, his subject was, how much do you charge? I own a house and a basketball team, and I travel a lot. Okay, so I could quickly add him as a contact, and I could track him. He would just basically be added like a new client, but he'd be considered a prospect. Or I can reply to him. Now, if I reply to him, and to say, I'm going to say our charge starts at 100 and goes to 200, whatever your fees are, whatever. And then they would just hit send. Now, this will actually go to him directly to the email he put in there. So he doesn't have to log into anything. He'll actually see it just like a regular reply, and it's going to go to his email. Now, if he wants to reply back to you, he would click here, which would be embedded in the message, and then that would take him back to that landing page, and he'd have to fill out his contact information and then send it again. But that's how we can get it back into Adam. Okay, so we're pretty excited about this. We think it's going to be nice, to capture some leads. We never had anything on our website before to try to capture leads just because we thought it was just going to be too difficult with people sending emails, and I didn't want that responsibility all being sent to me, and then I'd have to be responsible for delegating. I just didn't have the time. So now it's being funneled through Adam. We have a video on this in our video library explaining this in more detail, how to set it up. I just can't spend too much time on this, but that's basically how it would work. And you can actually even keep track of how many prospects come in for the year or the day. You can see, if you responded to them. If I hit the one sent, I can see my message that was sent. So you the owner manager, you can keep track of who's responding to them, how long is it taking to respond, because we're tracking the time right here. And our goal is to try to keep it under 30 minutes, just like a phone call. And you can also keep track of how many times they sent you a message. So in this case, Johnny Sparty here has sent me 2 messages already. So in that case, I might want to pick up the phone and try to close a deal on him. It's all up to you, however you handle leads coming in your office. Now I have if you see right down on the office portal message, it's got some web links, URL links, and we're going to send those to you, but that's what you're going to want to put on your website. Okay, that's the actual link. So if I go back to my website, and if I hover under Request Quote, if you see down here in the lower left-hand corner, if I hover over that, it says https login.homanager Adam_xtax, and it says prospect message. So you want to put exactly this link right here, either if you're login homanager.com or login2.homanager.com, and the only thing you're going to change is where it's with those red X's. That's going to be your unique Adam code. And the reason it's so long and it says redirect and all that is because it's going to redirect if the client's on your site on a mobile app or mobile phone, then it's going to show up the mobile version of the prospect landing page. If it's a desktop, it's going to be the desktop version. So it's all customized based on how they're actually reaching you. But those are the links right there for the landing page if you guys want to try this. So we have it already embedded in our website, and we have no emails on our website. So that's how the clients are going to contact us or pick up the phone. Okay, let's move on to page. That's the most confusing of the changes. So let's move on to page 3. Okay, we're going to go back. Now we have layout changes. If I go into a client file, so I'm going to go into John Casey's file, view, and the layout changes. We made a lot of changes this year to try to improve the efficiency of how you're going to operate within Adam. So we thought certain sections on this main page should be moved around to make it more efficient. So what we did first is the office events. It used to be down, we've had this change since March, so I can't remember exactly where it was. But now it's going to be right under your account information to make it easy so that when you see your status right here, you can easily see it. So if you change it, you'll be able to see that it changed. If you have required notes, it'll easily display. So the office events is right below the account information section. other accounts. This is now going to be below the EF database or your transaction information section, or located above the favorite links, whichever. But the reason we did that is we felt there was a lot of information here that was being missed because it was at the bottom of the page. Say, for example, the fee and payments of last year. Now you can see that if you're logging a fee and payment in here. So if you bump it up $10 every year, you can see exactly what you charged them without having to scroll to the bottom. Or if you have anything that's incomplete from prior years, so in this example, 2009, I see, oh, the client still hasn't picked up something in 2009. So I can just click on it and see what's going on. But when being at the bottom of the page, I missed all that information. So now we wanted to move it up so that we're actually seeing it while we're inside the file. EF database, we just moved that down just to make room for the office events. We just didn't feel it was that important. So we actually moved it right here. We probably could have even moved it further down, but that's where it is. And it might take you a couple days to get used to it, but let me tell you, it's a lot. You'll love it. It makes everything work a lot more efficient by having it set up this way. Contact information. Made some changes within contact information right away. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but this is not the expanded view. We just felt that email and phone numbers should be always displayed. Why we didn't do it before, I don't know. This takes a while before so many years constantly clicking on the title bar to see the phone numbers. Now the phone numbers will display when you just go into the page. Spanish-speaking clients, right here's the label. Just check that box, save it. Now they'd be labeled as Spanish-speaking, and then we'll highlight in purple, as I already demonstrated. Cell phone provider field, that's new. So right over here, cell phone provider, as long as you have the cell phone number in here, and you select the cell phone provider, then as I showed on the office event section, they will get sent a text message along with an email if you have the email address. So your people are going to have to then select who their cell phone provider is right here, and then make sure you have a cell phone number, and then you'll be able to send text. You can also, your email templates, which we'll talk about a little later, they're going to be going both as an email and a text. So you do want to try to capture this information, just another way of communicating with your client. Appointments page, this is new. We have a new button here, appointments. What it's going to show you is all your clients' past appointments. All right, so, and it's going to go back as long as you've been making appointments within Adam. So it's going to tell me when this client's made the appointments. What's going to display right away is going to be the current year, so 2014. So in this case, this client has come in quite a bit in 2014. I can see if they've kept their appointment or not. So if you have a client that never keeps their appointment, well, then guess what? I'm not going to schedule them anymore. But you have record of that. You can see where they've gone, what their prep time was, who they requested in those years, any notes, and highlighted in yellow would be any future appointments. So if you recall, when the client were to call up and say, I know I have an appointment, but I forgot the time, how we did that before is we did search, and we clicked on the scheduler, and that would actually take us right to their scheduled time in the scheduler. You can still do that, or you can come to this page, and I'll show you where we link to it from the search page, and you can see it highlighted in yellow, and it'll tell you exactly when their appointment is and who it's with. Foreign address, if you have any clients in a foreign country, all we did is we just added a field now. I got to expand this, see the address. So province and country, you can put that now. Phone number fields, this is probably a long time coming. I don't know why we didn't do it before, but if you type a phone number and it contains, 10 characters, it will put dashes in automatically for easier viewing. If you still want to add extensions, you can. In this case, it'll actually leave the dashes in because I already had them in here, but if I were to come in here and say 517-323-4806, and then say extension 11, and then I save it, now it doesn't think it's a phone number, and so the dashes actually won't display. It's the only way to get them in there now would be to actually put them in manually. But if you just put a phone number in, it will automatically put the dashes in there, so it's easier to read for you. Okay, disable contact auto data update. You're probably saying, what is that? Okay, so this has actually been here for a few years, and this is for the Drake Crosslink and TaxWise users that are pulling EF data in and contact information. So what was happening is we would e-file the return, all their current contact information would come in here, phone numbers, mailing address, and then the client may call back in a week and say, oh, I need you to change my phone number. I'm not with that person anymore, and that was my boyfriend's phone number. Do not call him. So we would change the phone number up here, but then as soon as we get any more EF data, it would just override with whatever we had recorded in Drake or Crosslink or TaxWise. So to prevent that from being any of this information being updated once you've received the EF, your first EF data import, you could check this box. Now this box is automatically going to be checked. So client comes in, you do the return, you fill out the information in your tax software, you e-file the return. If a phone number or mailing address gets changed, it automatically gets changed in Atom. And then any other changes, if you actually make them in Atom, they will not be overridden with any other EF data coming in once the first time it's imported. So typically, we do bank products, so we e-file the return. We get a lot of data being imported into Atom multiple times because every time we get updates on, check printing or check status clearing, every time it does that, it would override anything we had in here. But now that we won't have to worry about that anymore. So this is going to happen automatically. You don't have to check the box. It's automatically going to be checked. But if you ever had any issues where your phone numbers were being overridden with other data coming in from your tax software, that's why it was happening. Client portal password. Okay, right up here. The only change we're going to make, we've gone through this several times, experimenting with anyone who's been doing beta testing with us knows it's been a little bit of a headache. So this is where we've concluded with it's going to be defaulting. As long as you have this set up on your admin company page, it's going to default. Any new clients will default to the last name, first letter capitalized, and then the last four of their social. Okay. If you hit the reset button, if the client were to change any of this and hit reset, it'll default it back to that. Okay, and they will get an email sent to them. So that part is kind of new, is an email is going to be sent to them with the new password if you don't want to give it to them over the phone. Okay, that's really, I had this in here. We've actually made changes since I have printed this, but that's where we've decided to go with that. It's going to be default to the last name and the last four of the social, first letter capitalized, and then the reset button. Really all that's going to do is preset it back to that and shoot them an email. Okay, now we have permanent documents. So let me go into John's permanent documents here. As you recall, just a few minutes ago, I was talking about on the client portal, when the client sends you W-2s, 1099s, they usually do it one at a time. They don't do it in bulk, unfortunately. So you have multiple files here or uploads. How we did this in the past, probably what you did is you just left them in your permanent documents, but we actually were manually moving them to the appropriate year in the account documents. It was definitely a pain. So what we've simplified that. Now all you have to do is check the box and come down here and say move to account year. So if I want to move this to 2013, I just hit go, and they just moved. I can move it so when your clients send you documents, you determine what year they're supposed to go to and what business type. So if they're sending you QuickBooks files, it's going to come into permanent documents. You then move it to wherever it needs to go. I can now link directly to my account documents, quick and easy. Now I'm right in 2013 account documents. I can go back to permanent documents. I can go back to account documents that quickly. I can go to any year I want to go to. I want to go to 2011 account documents. I don't have to go back, scroll down, which was very time consuming. Again, a lot of these changes we've made was to make Atom work more efficiently. So this should be, we used this in the last part of the tax season, and it was nice, let me tell you. So you guys are going to love this if you're using Atom for your document storage, just to go back and forth. It's really easy. Since I'm on this page, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. You can also move documents to any year you'd like and any business type. In this case, all I have is tax prep. If I want to move this document right here, client uploads, I'm like, oh, no, that should have been 2012. All I do is select down here 2012 and hit go. And now I moved to my 2012, and there's my new document. I just moved in there. So a lot easier to move documents. You don't have to save them to your workstation and then upload them back in. Okay, account information. A big one for people who have been asking this for a few years. As you know, if you're doing tax prep and you're using our workflow, we have some checks and balances in these fields. So account type, I'm not account type, but difficulty, referral type, prep time, user, they all have to be pre-filled before you can actually move them to another office event. Say if you move it from tax prep to reviewer, it won't let you unless these fields are pre-filled. Now you can remove that checks and balances in admin, and I'll go over that later. This will really come in handy if you're using Adam for other business types, say bookkeeping, where your difficulty and prep time have nothing to do probably with your bookkeeping tracking, so you can shut those controls off. Refer a friend pop-up window. Click on that. We've added some features here. You can now print the refer a friend letter from here instead of doing it in batch. You still can do it in batches. So this would be the refer a friend letter if you want to just do it on the fly. We've also changed this so this can now be accepted with window envelopes. So you can get a window number 9 where it's going to have your return address and the client's name display. This is going to be, for us, we do a lot of refer a friend. It's going to be a huge time saver, not printing mailing labels anymore. So this is also done in the report section too when you do your refer a friend letters. If you want to do an individual mailing label, you can do that now. The Dymo label writer, you can go ahead and just print this out if you have one of those and just put it on there. But we actually put together this feature before we developed this portion. So honestly, I'm thinking most people just print the letter and shove it in a Windows envelope to make it even easier. And you can also, I don't know if people knew this, but once we have some controls set, once this is paid, that you can't alter a lot of things on this page to prevent fraud, but you now can alter the note box. So if you need to leave a note, even though it's been paid, you can do that now. You can also, when you're in here, if you want to link to like this individual, so Mark referred this John Casey, if you want to link to Mark's, all his referrals, you click on the referral, that's going to shoot you into Mark's referrals. It's going to show you all his referrals for the year. So just in case you wanted to go back into it, you could. Let me close this. So if I see right here, I have, total referral counts 33, 2 for the year, and I actually want to see more details, I can just click on the referral and that'll shoot me right back in there. Whoops. One thing I forgot to point out here regarding the mailing labels, on the contact information page, we do have that too. So if you want to print just a single mailing label, right there, John Casey, you can do that with your Dymo mailing label, single label. Refer a friend pop-up, make sure I got everything here. Edit notes. Yes. Next one, account uploads, account information, click on the account documents. And I believe I probably covered most of this. Quickly link from year to year to past years. Yep, I got these right here. You can go back to any year you'd like. Link to the permanent documents, move account documents. We talked about that. Adam-generated emails. When you go ahead and you select to give them access over here, say full access or limited access, when you save it, an email always went to your client. It never really put the person's name in there. It will now put the client's name in there, so John Casey. So if you actually have, we had a client that requested this because they had, they had their business file, so say John with BNC Pharmacy plus John as an individual, well, he uses the same email address. So every time I attached a document, he didn't know if it was for his business or for his individual. So when he tried to log in the portal, he didn't know, should I use my EIN number or should I use my social? Now it's going to distinguish with their name in the email. So if it's a company, it would show BNC Pharmacy. If it's his individual, it'd say John. So he knows what to use, EIN or social. Warning message, we weren't even aware of this, but if you click the edit pencil, whoever did this obviously was aware of it, and you hit delete, it wouldn't even give you a warning box. So now it does, just to prevent accidental deleting of a file. So that was only if you hit the edit pencil, it would do that. So that's been fixed. Moving on to page 4. Going back here to office events, we did touch base on the checklist. So as you see here, the checklist is displayed right here. Here's the checklist icon. I'm in review. It's going to highlight in orange. I don't believe I pointed that out on the home page, but if there's a required checklist item on this page, it's going to highlight in orange, alerting the user, I better click on the checklist icon so I can see what I need to do, and then also record that I've done it. So once I check the box, and I hit save, and I go back to file, the orange is no longer there. So I've done what I need to do with required. Now, if it's not required, that's up to you if you want to make them required or not. So if they're just there in case, someone needs some help, a reminder what they need to do while they're reviewing return, then that's where you'd mark it. You wouldn't mark it required. I'm going to remove this for a second to show you if you try to move the event without having the required checked off. So now it goes back to orange. Oh, did I jump? Oh, no, I'm in the right spot. Okay, I thought I jumped ahead here. Office events. Okay. So if I just try to move this to say EF ready and save it, it's going to give me my red warning page. Now, it lets me do it, but it's going to give me, and I can click here and I can actually see the checklist items. So it's just telling me I moved it without completing my checklist items. Next on the outside the checklist, we have create multiple office events simultaneously when a client files are created. Okay, this would be more, I would think, in line with bookkeeping. And what I mean by that is, so this office event, EF ready, so if you have a series of office events that you need to create every time you create a new file or add a new year, you can now do that in admin. So if I go to my home page here, and I'm going to have to add this, I'm going to call them Johnny Bookkeeping, and I hit add new contact. Now it's going to default it to, and I'll just put book up here to save it. When I do this, it's obviously going to default to business type tax preparation because that is my user's default business type. And it's going to, and I've had it set that lobby automatically is going to display when I create a new client. So now I'm going to switch it over to bookkeeping, and I'm going to save it. And I've told it every time I do add a bookkeeping client, I want the monthly payroll to create, I want Form 940, 941, and sales tax. That's what I do with all my clients. And I can always delete these, but I don't want to have to add it every time, and I don't want to maybe overlook adding it. So now I can set this up in admin to preset this, that these events automatically will create every time I add a new year or I add a new client. Now this setup right here, this is actually going back to, this is tied to the tax prep. I did label it lobby, but in bookkeeping it's called setup. So if I don't want that, I would just delete this. So these are really the ones I want to focus in on right here. So anyway, you can set that up in admin. We'll go over that when we talk about the admin sections. But let me go back now to, go back into John's file. He's my demo this year. All right, John Casey, go back into view. Now we have predefined notes. So what a predefined note is it's a way of entering a note quickly that's a repetitive note, something that always happens over and over again typically. So I'm going to move this client to pending client and save it. And I'm going to get a message saying, because I have it set up in my event admin page, that I need to put a note every time I move to pending. So I'm going to hit the edit pencil. And then right down here I have these predefined notes. So these are typical reasons why people move into pending in our office. No money to pay, waiting on kids' socials, or waiting on W-2s. So I'm going to select waiting on W-2s. It's automatically going to stamp date it and then put whatever message I want. So waiting on more W-2s, and then I save it. So what you need to do is just figure out what notes do you find yourself typing over and over again, and this is a quicker way to entering the notes into an event. And you can customize this to every single event page. So every event will have can have a different predefined note, and we set that up in admin. We'll cover that later. Warning message, again, that's just if you're in edit mode, it'll give you a warning before you delete it. In review, if I go to my home page and I'm in review, and so typically in our office, in review means we're going to review the return right now. So I'm going to click on, say, James file, Now I need to dig in. So I'm going to be sent directly to the Office Events section, and I'm going to see all the events. So sometimes the preparer might make notes while they're doing the return and put the notes right here. Well, we were sometimes overlooking those because we actually had to expand the event section in order to see those. And so our reviewer does not do that all the time. Now they don't have to worry about it. It's automatically going to expand for them. So if you ever come into the client file from in review, you're going to be prompted to this, anchor to the event section, and you're going to have all the events displayed so you can see everything that happened to the client file before you review the return. Just a better way of the review process. Transaction information. Okay, I got to change gears here because we don't have this in this demo. I got to move over to a different demo. Okay. So let me go into John's file here, just in a different demo. It's on a different server, so it goes a little slower. Okay, print transaction history. So right down here, print transaction history. All right, we made this a little easier for you to see. We found it to be a little cluttered, too much information, I think, from what we were trying to give the client. We didn't need to show them every single column in the print transaction history. We were pretty much using it either as an invoice or as a receipt. So now we made it look more like a invoice or a receipt. So it's going to show your transaction type, the date, any notes, and then over here it's going to track, whether they owe you money or they have a balance due. In this case, this client owes us money, so it's an invoice. If they paid, it actually would have the payment in a negative amount over here, reducing the client balance, as opposed to showing the payment method, because the payment method can be displayed in the transaction type. So we've also made this usable for the Windows 9 envelopes. So you don't need labels anymore. So I really think labels are going to be a thing of the past. So I cannot believe it took us this long to do this. But one of our users suggested it, and I said, who uses Windows envelopes anymore? But now I'm like, why wouldn't you? It's so much easier. And it looks very professional, I think. So so that's our print transaction history. Transactions can automatically be copied when adding a new year. So right down here, if you find yourself repeating yourself year after year with the same fee, same notes, so if you put a lot of notes into what you're doing for your clients, now all you have to do is hit the edit pencil, check the copy transaction box, save this, and when you hit add new year, either right here or you add it through the check-in screen or you add it to the search results screen, it will copy any transaction you have here along with the notes, and it will carry them forward to the new year. Obviously, you're probably not going to want to copy your payment forward because you can't assume you're going to get paid, but it will change the date. It'll default the date to the current date, not your old date. So if you find yourself recording the same transactions over and over again, this will be a nice feature for you. Just make sure you hit that copy transaction, and then when you add a new year, it automatically will copy those transactions. Again, the warning message, that's just going to display if you try to delete within edit mode. Save button, I'm sure you guys have experienced this through your employees and staff, including our own here, that this button was labeled save, and then so when you record a transaction, your new employees would hit save here, and it would actually erase everything. So now, to try to eliminate the confusion, I don't know if it'll work or not, hopefully it will, we actually changed it now to done. So done, and how that works is it's really just tied to this done feature right here. So if you want this unchecked, hit done, and it'll uncheck it. If you want it checked back up, you hit done, and then that's all that button does. Okay, and this is used for various, for invoicing purposes. And we actually have a new training video on that. Pay with credit card feature. This is brand new. If you want to integrate a credit card processor with Atom, we've teamed up with EPS Financial. They just introduced credit cards this year. They're very competitive. They beat our current credit card processor. That's really one reason why we chose. They're very, user-friendly toward tax preparers. They only bill you for monthly fees during tax season. So, if you're looking for a credit card processor, check them out. And then on top of that, we've integrated with them. So what that means is, so if a client's in my office, they go to pay, I'll have a little swiper. It's no longer a machine. It's just a little thing that you normally see at when you're checking out at a retail cash register. Swipe the card. First, you click on this link, swipe the card. It'll pre-fill their name, the card number. Everything will pre-fill except the credit card security code. And you take that off the back. You then hit send. It automatically goes to EPS, processes within a second or two, and there's the amount right here. You could override it if you want. But the best thing about it is it then will pre-fill the payment right here. It'll show payment 100 credit card, and then it'll even show that it was actually processed through the online payment, and it'll also default the last four of the credit card number in the notes section. So it's going to streamline your credit card processing, and it's going to hopefully, in our office, allow for better reconciliation at the end of the night where we accidentally forget to record payments. So there's no way you can forget. It will not forget. And when you log that payment in, or when you record the payment, it will automatically get logged in. There's no manual. You're taking the manual process out of it. So that error will be gone. We also have something set up on the portal, too, for online payments with the client, which we'll discuss later when we talk about the portal. But if you're interested, you can call our office, get more information. But we have the app right here under the help, EPS credit card processing. You're going to want to use this because it shows that you're an Adam client, and then they're going to set you up properly. And then you'll just get a number from them, and then you give it back to us, and then we put it into your software, and then you're ready to go. But you won't see this link unless you're actually set up with EPS and us. So it won't be there otherwise because there would be no need for it. You can just continue using your regular credit card processor. But, people were asking for it, so we went ahead and teamed up with them, and I think it's going to make our office run a lot better. Okay, other accounts. As we noted, we moved the other accounts. It's right now above this favorite links, which is brand new. It's going to default to all years. So because now it's up further, you see it. In our case, this client's been with me 11 years. I don't want to see all 11. It's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So in the user page, which I'll show later, you can actually default it to only display the last year and any open events. So let me actually get back to, I'm done with that demo now. I'm going to get back to my current demo here. Let me get back in John's file. That demo software, this one has some more better information in it. So let me get down to my other accounts. So what it'll display is it's going to display last year. It'll display if anyone has an open balance or if anything's not complete or if there's a note that's open. So it's only going to display what I need to look at. I don't have to see everything. So that's how we do it. We have some users, it's on the user level. We have some preparers that like to see everything. They like to see who did the return the last 11 years. So if you want that, you can see it. The client retention is right here. So it's always been right here, 11 years. But I would always miss that. It wouldn't stand out. And I really want to see how many years clients have been with me not that I treat them any differently, but, I mean, if they're a loyal customer, that's great. Thank them for coming back year after year. So it's right here, so you're going to see it, and it's highlighted in red. We just talked about how to display all the years. Quick links. This year, again, is going to default directly to the 2012 EF database for that client. So just a way of getting there quicker, making, Adam work more efficiently. The notes icon, it's a little notepad. That's going to highlight in yellow if you actually have an open note for that year. So 2011, I click on the link. I'm going to go down to my tax notes section automatically. Don't need to scroll. And then there's an open note right there. My documents for 2011, I click on that. That's going to go right in my account documents page. So if I need to go back to a prior year tax return, I'm in the client file. That's the quickest way to get there. I don't have to click on view and then go in there. And then I think that's the only link. I think that's what we had here. Let's see. EF database, yes. So that's all I have for the other accounts. Everything else remained the same. Favorite links, that's brand new. So if you find, what I found myself is going to the additional links say to get to the IRS website or city forms or whatever, and I had to get out of the client file, and then I had to get back in the client file. So I was like, why don't I just put those links I go to all the time in the client file? So that's what we did. So favorite links, you set them up in the additional links, right here. Go to additional links, and so if I go to, say, IRS, how I have it organized, all you're going to do is you're going to check the box, displaying favorite links, and then you can then put the ordinal how you want them to display in the favorite links. So they first have to be in additional links, and then you then tell them which ones you want to actually be on the client, in the client file as a favorite link. So I think this is going to be very handy, and it's for at least me, because I found myself always going there, and I don't really want to leave the client file. I mean, again, the whole goal with Adam, put everything in one place, so that's what we're trying to do. So that's why I just have my IRS instructions, Michigan, city. I got my cover letter right here, XX letterhead, fax cover sheet. Okay, so that's favorite links. Moving on to page 5, task notes information. Again, we put together a predefined note for the task notes, just like we did for the events page. So in this case, phone message, please call client back ASAP. Now I click on my edit pencil. Predefined note will display right here, and I'm going to say return client's phone call, and I left a message, because that seems like it always happens. My full message is right here, left message. I close this out, I save it, and then I'm done. So again, I don't have to type anything. It's so much quicker to do this, especially if you have some people that are challenged on the keyboard. They're going to love this feature. So I'm going to probably wait to get more feedback from my employees saying, hey, I find myself entering the same note over and over again. Can you please add it as a predefined note? And sure enough, I will. So anyway, I'll show you how to set those up in admin. Those should come in pretty handy. It's all based on, based on the task type. So I can have one for complaints, general, phone message. It's going to then select which ones, and I customize all those in admin. Let's see. Move to sign to. This assign to right here. It used to be over here in the far right. I just figured it made more sense to be next to the note field. Make it easier for you, especially if you have a smaller screen where you can't see all the way over there. Now you can just see it, make it easier to assign it to a specific user. Again, the warning message will just be deleted. A warning box will display before you delete in edit mode. Miscellaneous, quick navigation. I don't know if you've seen this on my page here, right down here at the bottom. Instead of having to scroll to the top and go to the home page, now we have this quick navigation bar right here. I can go to my home page. Okay, I can go to my assigned tasks, real quick and easy, or I can go to my search tab, my search page, or I can go back to the top of the page. So this moves with me as I move up and down the page. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but if you use this, you'll find yourself saving time instead of scrolling all the way to the top and getting the home page, because that's the only way you could do it. Now you can do it wherever you are, home page. So I'm at the home page. Search results. Let me do a search here for John Casey. Made some changes here on the search results. This one we just changed from, used to say e-message to portal message. Makes more sense because it is going to the portal. Everything else works exactly the same. We replaced it. We put an icon here now, but it's just going to be exactly the same. It's just your portal message. Okay, we have Spanish-speaking clients. Again, if I had John designated as a Spanish-speaking client, this would highlight in purple. As you see here, the color key, Spanish-speaking, just so you can identify quickly who should be speaking to this client. Quick links. Again, we put some quick links in here. So from the search page, and this is a quick one. I mean, it's a nice one. I find myself going to the documents page a lot. It's going to default to the latest year, but then quickly from here, you can go whatever year you want. So that should be a nice feature for you guys. Notes. You can quickly get to the notes page section quickly, right down to the task notes of that year. If I put a note in here, let me show you now. It'll highlight in yellow. Let me refresh my page. So now it'll highlight in yellow that I have an open note, so I can quickly go to it. contact information section. This used to be, hopefully I'm not going to cause any problems with this. This used to be, it show the client's ID. Now it actually will link directly to the contact information section, and it'll expand the bar for you. So you don't have to go in and then click the contact information bar. This might not be as helpful tool as now we are actually displaying the phone numbers. So, but anyway, that's how it works. So if you don't see the ID displaying anymore, that's why. Appointments, this is the new page right here under schedule. As you call the schedule appointment, you always would click on the site, West Saginaw. That hasn't changed at all. This little calendar, though, what that does, that's going to take me directly to that page, my client appointment page, which is going to show me my future appointment. And it's also going to show me any past appointments. So, and if I click on here, I'm going to show all my past appointments. So I go all the way back to 2009 and whether I kept those appointments or not, and which office I went to, who the preparer was, business type, all that. So this appointment page is all the history of this client's appointments back to when you started using the appointment schedule with Adam. So the only thing that's going to be a little trickier is make sure that you click, if you're just scheduling an appointment for the client, just click on the site just like you always did. If you click on the calendar, you will go to this page, but then you can go right to the scheduler from here. So if you accidentally go there, it's only going to take you one click to get right to the page. So it's not going to cause many problems, I don't think. Transaction information section, if you hover over here, the return balance, there's a balance due. I can click on that. That'll shoot me right to the transaction section for that year. Just a quicker way to get maneuver through the client file. That's all. Okay, that's pretty much all for the client file. Now I'm going to go to my punch clock. So on the punch clock, we just made it easier for if we punch in. Now we have a green button. So one of our users said they thought it'd be better if you color code these so you don't accidentally punch out somebody. So which we find our users doing. They sit down on a workstation, they forgot to log in, and the other person forgot to log out, so they actually punched the person out. So now it's just green, punch in, so I select where I'm sitting, punch in, and then when I'm leaving for the day, I punch out. So if you're actually coming to punch in and you see a red, obviously you know, oh, I must be logged in under someone else's name. So I think that should prevent that from happening anymore. So I'll just punch out. New billable task types. If you're using Adam for tracking billable hours, this should be helpful. So if I go into billable punch clock, and however you do it, if you do it through the employee hours or the punch clock. So if I type in John Casey here, and now I have a new field, billable task type, which you can customize in admin. So if I do 1040 work and I charge $75, if I do payroll work and I charge $60, you set this all up in admin. So it's basically what it is, it's similar to a predefined note where if you find yourself doing the same type of work and before you had to type a description, now you don't have to do it. I just do 1040, I punch in, and I can type a description if I want, but it's a way of quicker logging your billable hours without having to type and waste your time. So I punch out. If I want to go into the billable employee hours, I can always edit this and change anything I want, but here now I added a billable task type to this page. I'd added a billing rate, so you can easily see the different billing rates. And of course, this isn't changed. I'm linked to the client file here. But I am calculating my billable time. So, 1.5 hours, it's equated to $65 for here, and then for Thursday is $300 for a grand total of $365. So I can actually see it on my page calculating how much I should bill. Now, this is actually just me billing. So if I have multiple clients where I have Michelle Bishop and John Casey, my grand total is a combination of the two. But you can run the reports, which we'll go over in a second, how to run the reports, which now display billable task types. And again, that's like hours of the week, which we just talked about. Now we've added a few more columns to compensate for the billing task type on there. The appointment scheduler, let's go to that real quickly. Now you can somewhat link to the Google Calendar, and what this does, let me clear this out. Let me go to my current date. So for Dan Stoutenberg, if I want to also use this put this in my Google Calendar, it doesn't exactly sync, but what it does is I click on and I don't think I'm logged into Google on this computer. If I was logged into Google, when I click on Add to Google Calendar, what it'll do is it'll pre-fill all this information here into the calendar. So it'll take Dan's name, it'll take my user, if I'm logged in as Mark Preco in Google, it'll take the prep time, the start time, and I can just hit a button in Google and then boom, it's in the calendar. But just so you know, it doesn't go back and it doesn't come back. So if you change something in Google, you can't get it to change in Atom. So all it is a way of quickly logging an appointment into Google if that's what you're doing. But, I mean, for us, we use Atom for our calendar, and it works just fine. I can pull it up on my phone and see my appointments. So in our case, we never had the need for using the Google Calendar, but we had people request it, so that's why we went ahead and put that there. And that was a quick way of pushing appointments to the Google Calendar. Phone number fields, we just made it easier for you to read, so now they contain the dashes, just like on the contact information section. Preparer's work schedule must be verified. I don't know if you came into this before, or I'm sure not a lot of users out there use the verified field, but on the work schedule, you know, how we have this set up is in our office, once we click verified, so if I click on Mandy's name here and I check verified, that means now things display. Now Mandy can see it on her work schedule. Now we can schedule appointments for her. Unfortunately, we overlooked it, and we actually could schedule appointments for Mandy even though we hadn't verified this on the work schedule. As long as she was on there, if this was unverified, we could schedule an appointment for her. Now this has to be verified in order for her name even to display in the drop-down. Added new availability calendar. If I go to my appointments calendar here, we have new calendar down here called View Availability. So if you have employees, preparers, that their schedule gets booked quite a bit and you find it a difficulty finding holes, where do I have a hole so I can schedule an appointment? This should be a helpful tool. It's going to be helpful in our office. So what this is going to show when I click on View Availability, this will actually show, it's not going to show my appointments. I can click on another link to show my appointments. It's going to show me what is available to book. Now, it's going to default to all users, but I think what we're going to end up doing is just probably focusing on one person. So if I look at Mark, it's going to show me what's available. So Mark's available from 9 to 5 on Monday, on the 8th. I don't have anything available. Today's Friday. I have availability from 1:30 to 2 because I have an appointment, and I think I have 2:30 to 3, and then 4:30 to 5:30. So it's only going to show me what I have available. If everything's booked up for the day or if I'm not working, it's just going to be blank. Okay, so in this case, I'm available 9 to 5:30. So if you have employees that are, what we have is we have seasonal employees, and when it gets slower, they're only working 2 days a week, and we don't, our receptionists don't know which 2 days they work. So what I found them doing is they'd click day by day to figure out if they're even working, and if they're working, you know, do they have any availability to schedule an appointment? Now they can click on here, it'll default to the month, and they can quickly see where they can schedule. Now, they can't schedule from here, just so you know that. What you're going to do is, if you have two screens, you're all set. You just pull this up on the second screen over here, and then you can schedule an appointment. But they're going to click to close this out and go, whoops, let me get back to where I am. And they're going to go back to the regular calendar and schedule the appointment, just like they always did. This is only to display their availability, and then you book the appointment like you always would do. So I mean, we're going to test it this year. I think it's going to be really helpful in our office to identify where people have times that you can schedule an appointment, and you schedule an appointment like you always would do. Then you do have to refresh the page. Once you schedule an appointment, if you refresh that calendar, it'll then show that time is no longer available. All right, moving on to page 6. So we are going to make it within our time frame for those that are able to stay on this call or this webinar. Client portal. Okay, now I need to log in back to the other demo software. So give me 1 second here. Let me pull that up. Yes, here we go. Okay, so there's the login page for your clients. So failed login attempts. So they're going to have the same restrictions that we do. If they try to log in 5 times and they can't get their password, they're going to get locked out for 15 minutes. Okay, the one thing we did add that should be helpful, forgot password. Now if they click on the forgot password, they enter their email, they enter their social, and they will get sent a temporary password scrambled to their email address, and so they don't have to call your office. So hopefully that'll prevent people from calling your office and save you some time. Before, if you recall, all it did is call the office, and they'll give you their password. Change password, and we're doing this all for security purposes. Okay, I know we haven't had any problems, but we don't want any problems. So now when your clients log in, most likely using their last name and their last four of their social, because that was default, they're going to be prompted to change their password. That's the first thing they're going to do when they get logged in is change their password. So they're going to change it to whatever they want. Now, if they forget, again, they're just going to forget password, shoot to you. If they still can't get it, obviously they're going to call you, and then you can give it to them over the phone. Or, as I showed, you could reset the password, and they would get an email sent to them. So, automatically, whatever you prefer. So that's the login changes. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in. And hopefully I don't get logged out or timed out here or kicked out after 5. I got in the first time, so I'm good. First change, get a copy of my tax return. It's going to highlight new documents coming in. So hopefully I have one here for you. If I set this up properly. Okay, good. So in this example, I actually have 2 tax returns. So this is a typical, at least in our office, client calls in, you send them the returns to review. They forgot to give you something, so you change it, you send another return for them to review. So then before you know it, you got like 5 returns in there, and they don't know which return to click on. So they should, eliminate that confusion. So when they go in here to look at the return, the one that's the latest one or the one that hasn't been viewed yet is going to highlight in yellow. So they know right away which one they need to look at. Okay, now once they leave this page, this is no longer going to highlight in yellow. So there's no way of knowing if they click on it or not, but we're just assuming they did if they come to this page. And then these are going to filter by year. I believe before it was built down below. Now it's going to be cleaned up a little bit, and they can go to any year they want to view returns. So just I go back to 2013. It's not yellow anymore because now it's assuming I viewed the return. Okay, add questions, notes, and attachments. I go down here. Now, of course, obviously you guys know you can customize these portal links, I hope. So I have it labeled Ask X-Tax a question and read your messages. So this is going to be filter by year and highlight new messages until read. So again, this is going to highlight yellow until it's read. Now I don't, when I actually click on it and view it and read it, then it's going to now be actually disappear. It's only going to display the messages that I haven't read, unread items. So I'm going to go back to 2014 to see the message. There it is right there. So it's only going to display the messages I have not read yet. If they need to see those old messages, they can just click on the year and they'll see them. They can also see messages they've sent to you too. Okay. This one you want to point out to your clients in case they, if they're attaching documents to messages, is when you compose a message, when your clients compose a message, we removed the attachments down here, and the reason we did that for you because if you're using this feature, you should have known that the document gets, it's in the message, but then you got to get it out of the message to get it into, like, say, the account documents where you should be storing them. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to find that document because it just keeps getting buried in more messages. So the preferred way for them to send you documents is right here using the attach my W-2s, 1099s, etc., because these automatically go right into the permanent documents, and then as I showed you, you can quickly move them to whatever year you want. So you really don't want them sending you documents as an attachment in a message because it makes it harder on your side. So now we've completely eliminated that, so they can't do it anymore. So now it's actually going to be right here. They're going to do it the way they should be doing it, is just uploading it to you. And they can type whatever they want in the description. So anyway, just to point that out to you. Upload documents, since we're on this page. Clients now get confirmation that their documents were uploaded. So if I browse, and let me see if I can go find the document here. Oh, come on. I don't need to. And move this off the page. I don't need to lie. It's having trouble connecting to my server. But what I do is you browse. So you cancel. I don't want to lock my computer up. I would just browse. I go grab the document, type my description, I hit upload. A message would say your document successfully uploaded. If you want to view it, click here. They could click, and they would actually see the document they uploaded. If they want to go back, and it's actually stored in their file under read their messages. If I look at my sent messages, it actually gets sent like a message. So right here, new document uploaded. They can always go back and see whatever they uploaded to you. But they do get confirmation when they actually upload the document to you. Get a copy of my invoice and receipt. I've made this now to, it says make my payment or make payment because I have the display, this person has a balance due $235. The reason I say make my payment is because now I'm integrated with, EPS, financial credit card processing, as I told you, how we did it in the office. Now your clients can pay by credit card through the portal. So they would just come on your portal site. It's going to show, and you can have what I mean. I think make payment makes sense to me. It'll show their balance, and then you guys, whoever hasn't renewed yet, or for next year, and you want to pay online, go to your portal site with us, and your balance due will display right here, and then you just click on, it's going to display whatever year you owe money, and then click on make payment. This will display, they're going to key in your card information and the amount. Now, if they're changing the amount, they can change the amount. They hit send, and the nice thing, as soon as they hit send, you're going to get a message through the portal saying that this client just made a payment to you, and on top of that, it's automatically going to log the payment in as a credit card payment with the last four of the social, just like it did when the client paid in-house in your office. It's going to do exactly the same here, so it's going to streamline that process. You don't have to do anything. That client will also get an email confirmation coming from the credit card company saying that they just, paid and that was their receipt. Obviously, they can always print this as a receipt too. But the payments automatically get logged in, so you're removing that manual process. And then it's going to show the balance due as zero. Automatically going to happen within seconds. Nothing you have to do on your part. So again, if you're interested, just go to our help link up there in the client menu and then click on the EPS application and then submit it to EPS, and they'll be in contact with you, or call them up and they know exactly, that we're working together, and then we just have to get a code from them, and then you're up and running. But you will not see this make payment link or this column unless you actually are, integrated with the EPS. So if that's something you think you'd like, you can get in contact with us too, but the credit card application is on there. We couldn't, unfortunately, we had to choose one credit card provider. We couldn't choose them all, and we just thought it made sense, EPS, because they deal with EROs, and that's why we chose them, and then they have good rates too. Schedule appointments, that's new. Your clients can now schedule appointments, and it goes right into your calendar from here. So again, you don't have to put this on there. You can make this inactive. In fact, all the new items that are, when we update this, we're going to make this inactive because we don't want to put it on there unless you want it, because a lot of offices probably do not want it on there because you could be, problem is clients could they could log appointments by mistake and then clutter up your appointment scheduler. So you still have the requested appointment like we've always had, but now you have this too. Okay, so all they would do is they come in here, they select a preparer. So I'm going to select Mark. They can select the time. Now, just so you know, it's going to display what's available in 60-minute increments. Okay, so if I pick 2 o'clock, I'm going to go ahead and book the appointment. I can click on Mark's View Availability Schedule. It's going to work just like the one I just displayed inside the appointment calendar. It's going to show me what's available for Mark, so I can see what's available, and then actually book the appointment. I need to close this and go back here and then actually book the appointment. So I'm going to do 2 o'clock, send, and then appointment scheduled successfully. So actually this got booked right into my appointment calendar. Okay, so that's available. So you can actually turn this off at the user level. So if you want some users not to actually be part of this calendar, you can do that. Just shut it off. And I'll show you that when we talk about admin. Okay, that's all we have for that. Now let's go to this next section under New Client Appointments. And I'm going to scroll to it real quick right here. I'm not actually going to, it's actually not a new feature. It's been here, but I don't know if you guys have been. aware of it or not. Where are we at here? Okay, new client appointments. So new clients can request appointments, and I have this on our website, and this is the link you're going to have if you're a login to .ATO manager, then obviously you have login to. This redirect, again, just like I told you about the prospect message link, you're going to want to put that on your website because that's going to, if it's a mobile phone, then you're going to see the mobile version or not. So this would be only if you want clients that are not your current, they're like prospects, okay, and you think they're actually going to book appointments with you, you can do that. Now, just so you know, it's not actually going to book into your calendar. It's more like a request. They would send you a request appointment, but what I want to point out is this is what you want to put on your website. So I'm going to go to our website real quick, and I'll show you what we did here. So I come down here. It says request appointment. It's going to actually, in this case, it actually takes me to a different page where if it's a new client appointment or if it's a returning client appointment. So if they're returning, I want them to go through my portal to book the appointment because I have more information on them. If they're new, they just click on this page, and this is what the page looks like. So it's just going to ask you for which office they want to go to, the time. So it's not looking at the calendar at all. There's no cross-check on the calendar. They're just going to go ahead and book a time based on your start and your end time of that day. And then hopefully you can, fulfill their needs. If not, you get in contact with them. But anyway, that's how that works, and that's the link you'd want to have on your site. Okay, reports. Let me go to my reports here. We got some customization to some reports. Customized notes display at the bottom of your report. So I'm at the bottom of page 6 now. All right, so what we did here, I'm going to go to my report, and we'll pull up. I'm going to jump ahead here. I'm going to go to my management, client hourly billing punch clock. All right, and I'm going to put the dates. Actually, I'm just going to run it for today because I have some data in there. And what it's going to show me is this is tied to my client. So for John Casey, Mark's worked on this. Here's the billing task type, 1040. I did some work on it. And, oh, actually, I'm jumping ahead on here. Well, let me talk about this one since I'm sorry. I'm jumping way ahead to added billable task type. Okay, I'm not customization. Sorry about this. I don't want to confuse anyone. So basically, this report is just showing that I've added the task type, and it actually will give me a subtotal of the task types. Okay. Now going back to the customization, if I go to my admin page, under report permissions, this far column, customized text, I can put any text I want at the bottom of my report. So this example, transaction history, I have down here, please submit payment within 30 days. I'm doing the same thing for my invoice and my balance due statements. So any report on any PDF document, you can put whatever you want, and it can be quite lengthy too. So if you want to say, thank you for doing business with us, you can do that on any report. Refer friend letters, whichever. So if I go to report, and I'm going to go to management, let's see here, balance due invoice, select tax prep, and I think I have something in there for today. So I have Tommy Sager here, 150, and right here it is, please submit payment within 30 days. So it's a way of putting whatever you want at the bottom of your reports. Also on this report, I want to point out this again, pretty much anything, all the reports, the invoices, statements, refer friend letter, we customize it so it can fit into a Windows 9 mailing envelope so you don't need mailing labels anymore. Okay, we did the exact same thing for the statement. So we cleaned it up. Whoops, I don't have anything on it. We cleaned it up so it doesn't have as many columns, and we made it so it'll fit with a Windows 9 mailing envelope. Same with the refer friend letter. We did exactly the same thing. One more report I want to point out is at the very bottom, scheduling billable time card report. That's actually found under the actual hours work schedule. What this is going to do if you want to keep track of your employees, who they're working on. Okay, so select both employees, the West Saginaw office, hit go. So for Mark, for today, it's going to show me what I did today, who I worked on, John Casey. And again, the big thing I want to point out here is the task type is now linked in here, and you'll get subtotals for the task type. So you want to see how much admin work you're doing for a week. You can do that. So it's a way of keeping track of the accountability for your employees. So that report's not new. All we did is add the task type to it. Okay, moving on. Oh, we got one more report here. And on page 7 at the very top, it says New Management Report Account Types. That's a typo. It should say Account Event. All right, so that report is basically a data dump of all your office events. So actually, it should probably say office events, not account events. So on that report, if I go to, it's under Management, and I guess he labels it, okay, account events. So that's how our programmer labels it, account events. So let's leave it as Management Report Account Events. And I'm just going to do it for today. Tax prep, hit go. Okay, and this is an HTML file. And unfortunately, I had to switch computers when I started this with all the problems we had at the beginning of this webinar. And I'm hoping I have Excel here. And of course, do I have Excel on this computer? Oh, good, I do. Okay. I know a lot of people have trouble with importing the HTML file to an Excel file. So what I'm going to do is, what you want to do is this, obviously this is all this gibberish. You're like, what do I do with this? So what you want to do is you want to save this. And because I just had trouble connecting to my server, I'm going to save it to my C drive. And hopefully I have a spot where I can save it. So I'm just going to save it. Okay, so what this is these are all your office events for today for each client. Okay, but obviously you can't read this. So what you want to do now is, now you want, I just saved that file. Now what you want to do is open up an Excel spreadsheet, and then now go find that file. So you want to open that file in Excel, and it automatically will populate the columns. So I hit open. So now I'm going to go find it. If I can find it here. Okay, C drive. I saved it in data, and there it is right there, and I hit open. And now it's going to populate all the columns. So any HTML file, like one big one that people use as mailer client export, you want to do exactly the same thing. Just save that file, open up Excel, do a file open, locate the file, and you open it up in Excel, and then here's all your columns. So it's showing me my events. It shows me my clients. It shows who was assigned to, who worked on it, the start, the end date. So you're going to obviously need to manipulate this however you'd like. But all the data is there, business types. But we had some users that wanted to have that, track that information, so now you have all the office events you want. Now this would probably be pretty huge if you do a large date range. So I'm not sure if it'll time out or not, but I think it can handle quite a bit of data in that format. Okay, so that's all for reports. Let's get to admin. See if we're going to make it at 2 o'clock. All right, some of these are important, so hopefully you're not falling asleep. Batch messages right here. It used to be called batch portal messages. Now you can send batch messages as email or portal. So portal you always could do. Now you can send them as an email too. So if I have 7,000 clients, I can send 7,000 emails all at once to my clients. So if they're not using my portal message, which not everybody is, unfortunately, now I can just switch it over to an email and then send it off to them. Now I can't send attachments, even though it shows attached file here. That's strictly tied to my portal message. So it'll allow you to actually attach something here, but as some of you guys know, when I sent out the agenda via email, there was an attachment there. When you clicked on it, it said it cannot be viewed. That's because you actually have to be inside of Atom to do that. So you don't want to send an attachment to here. Maybe that's going to be coming next year, but as of right now, you just can, it's going to be as long as email as you want, and you can copy and paste, pretty much whatever you want because you have this nice toolbar in here. So, obviously, I'm not going to go over it. This isn't new. You can look at the admin video we have in our video library explaining how to use the batch message. This is a new feature here. Is now you can send an email, and also you can now customize it and filter it by whether they're Spanish or English speaking or both. So if you want to send everything to your Spanish-speaking clients, just hit yes. So this should be very helpful for you guys to send out emails to your clients. So now one thing, once you do this, you didn't have to move within your software to actually send it. So this will be sent, but then when you actually move, then your software actually triggers it to go. The software has to refresh, and then the actual emails get blasted. Now they're going to, if a lot of people are doing it, I'd recommend doing it early in the day, just because, obviously a lot of people might be using this feature because it's going to get put into our queue. So that would be the best to try to get yours out. Billable task type, as we talked about, punch clock, billable hours. This is where you're going to put your task types right here. You can add as many as you want, and you can put any kind of billing rate with them. So that's for people that are using the punch clock for tracking billable hours. Cell phone provider, as we talked about on the contact information page. This is how you get the cell phone. We're trying to capture so we can send text to our clients. So this is where you put the cell phone providers in here, and you can, if you don't know, this is the email domain. You want to put first cell phone provider. So if you don't know them all, you can easily just go ahead and do a Google search, email domain for texting, and you should see every single cell phone provider out there. If you have issues, you can just give us a call and we can help you with that. Client portal links, nothing's changed here. You can customize those just like always. The only thing new is, we have the schedule my appointment, which I showed. That's probably going to be inactive for you. So what you'd want to do is come in here, click on Show Inactive Records, and then you want to then make it active and then put it so it'd be actually showing up on your portal. If you want to use Schedule My Appointment on your portal. So that's up to you. It's all based on your office. Let's see. Company. The changes on a company page is uploads page. Nothing major, just we have the company name, just displays there, just to be consistent with the other upload page. You can now filter by year, okay, as opposed to before, I think it was just displaying down here. It was getting lengthy, so now we hit it with a drop down. Credit card instructions, this is unique to if you're going to use EPS for credit card processing and have the integration with Atom. I don't know if you noticed or not, but when I clicked on the link, this is really for your clients that are paying online on the portal. You can put whatever instructions you want. So I just have, please enter the billing information of the credit card, and it also says which credit cards you accept. So you want to display that. So you get to customize the message right here. Card payment screen. Oh yeah, right there. Okay, company website. The company website, where this is coming into play is on if you recall at the very beginning of this webinar, we talked about the landing page, your prospect portal landing page, so where your clients are sending you information through the prospect page. There's at the bottom there it says back. When you click on back, that actually sends them back to your website because they're actually accessing this page most likely from your website. So when they're done, they want to go back to your website. So to get back to your website, you have to have your website right here. And don't put www.xtax.com. This HTTP has to be in there. So all you do is you're going to go up and whatever's in the URL field up here, just do a right-click copy and come down here and then paste it right in there. Email text templates. Change the name from email templates to email text templates because now we're capturing text addresses. So any email or text template in here is going to go off as an email and a text at the same time. So if you have a cell phone and a cell phone provider in a contact information page along with the email address in the taxpayer information page or spouse, they're going to get both. If you have one or the other, they're going to get, if you only have email, then they're going to email. If you only have the text, they're going to get the text. So that's why we changed the name, obviously, to email text templates. Also, we've added Spanish. So now we have you can identify whether this client is Spanish-speaking only. So now you can send just a Spanish message to them. So if they don't understand English appointment reminders, then that was doing you no good. So now you can come in here and customize it, the message in Spanish, and if you have them identified, labeled as a Spanish-speaking client, they will get that as a text and as an email for happy birthday, appointment reminders, and whatnot. Events, let's see, do I have everything? Yep, event status. Big one on this one is checklist, which we've talked about a couple times. This is where you're actually going to customize and create your checklist. So I'm going to go to business type tax preparation. So for example, up here, today's task. Now we have these highlighted in orange, whether they're required or not. This is just showing you that we have actually a checklist item behind here. So I click on my checklist item. So if you have a list of steps that you want each employee to do at each event, this is where you'd want to put them in here. If you want to make them required, you're just going to type the event checklist item name, put the ordinal, how you want it to display, and whether it's required, you check the box. Now over here under Assign To, you can actually show if you want this checklist item to be assigned. So in this example, for today's office tasks, which in our office we try to have those completed daily. That's what today tasks mean. So if they don't get completed daily, what I have this set up as a checklist item, I have to just assign to Mark one day after the due date. So if it makes it, so if I assign it today on Friday, someone says, a client called in with Social Security number, please enter this today before you leave. Nobody enters it. I'm going to get an assigned task sent to me with this checklist item the next day. So in this example, on Saturday, because I have it one day, the due date, days from the start date, 1. So it'd be actually a day after the start date. So that's when I don't want to be reminded during the day because someone else should be taking care of it. But if it goes one day beyond, that means I guess I need to step in and make sure it gets completed. So that works with due date. But all this is explained in our admin pages. Okay. Next we have disabled account field requirement error check. Let me get back to my event status. This far column over here, disable account. And I want to get to bookkeeping. Disable account field requirement error check. What that is, if you recall, on the account information section, I said we have all these checklists. You have to have prep time, referral type, difficulty before you can move it to the next event, which is fine for tax preparation, but it's not so fine for, say, bookkeeping because you don't need those fields anyway, so they became a nuisance. Now you can eliminate those checks and balances. So all you have to do, what you have to do is you have to go in and select the edit pencil and check the box, obviously, and then save. And what you're saying is that I can move it to this event without having an error check. So you pretty much have to have all the events checked. So for tax prep, I want the error check. I don't want someone to move it from, say, lobby to tax prep, or not tax prep, but say pending without filling in the prepare and whatnot. I need that error check in there. Add-on creation of accounts. If you recall, when I showed for bookkeeping, I wanted to have my monthly payroll, my sales tax, my 940, my 941 all created when I add a new year or I add a new account. This is how I do it. I come in here and I check these. I want these added on creation of an account. So just to give you a heads up, if you create a new business type, from now on, none of these will be checked. So if you want your lobby, something automatically to happen, one event to automatically created. So up till now, lobby always got created. It was a default. But now we've taken that out. So if you add a new business type and you want lobby to create, you're going to have to come in here and check the box. Otherwise, when you add a new year or add a new account or add a new client, no events will be created. Okay, prospect message subject. Page right here. So this is where you have subjects. These are different subjects. If you recall, I have multiple landing pages on my website. One is request a quote, one is ask a question, and one is contact us. So I customize the subjects right here. This is where you do that on your prospect landing page. Report permissions. Customize any note that you'd like displayed at the bottom of your reports. I talked about that. That's under, we already mentioned that right here. It'll display on all reports or selected reports based on what you key in. Task types, predefined notes. Okay, task types right here, this notepad icon, it's going to highlight in orange if there's a note behind it. So I just click on the predefined note icon, and these are my notes. If you recall, I did this for task types. So this description here is the drop-down. All right, so this is what I want to appear in my drop-down. So if I have a longer message, a note that I want to actually fill in the note text field, but I don't have enough room on my drop-down, I can make the drop-down small and make as large a note as I want. So, I mean, to create a note, it's very simple. This would be the drop-down that you see, and then this is the actual note that actually gets populated in the field. And I believe I forgot the point that's out on the event status page. This icon right here, we go to tax preparation. And again, under pending client, highlight in orange, here's my notes, predefined notes, same thing, exactly the same way. This is my drop-down. These are my actual notes that are going to fall in the text field. Last one, I think, is users. And I'll go into my user field, Mark. Display, collapse, other account section. If you recall, we moved the other accounts up so they could actually be displayed more visibly as opposed to being at the bottom of the page. If you don't want all the years to display, you want to come in here and check the box, display, collapse, other accounts. So for myself, I have it checked because we've been in business for quite a while and we have a lot, and we've been using Atom for a while, so we have a lot of years. I don't want all those years to display. It's just too much for me. So I'm only going to display the ones that are outstanding. I'm going to always display last year so I can see what I charged them, but then anything that's outstanding. So if they owe me money from a prior year, or if they have a note that's open or a status that's open, I will see that, but I won't see all of them. Check the box and then save if that's what you'd like. Display on Client Portal Schedule Appointment page. As you saw now in the Client Portal, clients can now, if you want, can schedule appointments and they go directly into your calendar. If you do not want that to be, say for example, Mark, since I've been here the longest, people might know me more than anyone else. They might want an appointment with me. So I don't want to do all the tax returns though. Okay, so I don't want my name maybe to display because otherwise I'm going to get stuck with all the returns. So I'm not going to have it displayed. I have it right now just so you can see it. But in our office, I think it would cause more problems than it would solve. But for other offices, I mean, especially if you're a single office and you're the only one doing the returns, obviously, open it up and let them schedule appointments. Less work for you to do, to take the phone call. But it all depends on your office, what you think would work and what won't work. I've been talking too much. Okay, so that's all I have, and we almost made it. This is about 5 minutes over, but I really apologize for the beginning. The video, I'm gonna go ahead and compress it and get it up on YouTube right now, and hopefully it'll be there by the end of the day. That's all. Hopefully you see these features and they're going to help your office. They will. So hopefully you made the notes, and I know I didn't give a lot of detail on exactly how to do it, but our video library will show you how to do it. So you can always refer back to that. In admin, we go line by line what you need to do. So, and of course, if you have any questions, please call us, and we're here to help you. So I hope you guys have a great year, and keep the suggestions coming so we can keep at them, keep it strong, and have a great tax season, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. All right. Thank you.